The FDA approved the first HIV prevention medication in mid-July of this year. And although it gained mainstream media attention, many people who may have been interested otherwise abstained from asking their physician about the drug amidst fears of harmful side effects and low protection rates. So how effective is this drug, and can it really help in the fight against HIV?
I myself had not heard a lot about it. I had heard little stories about PrEP or people using PrEP, but really there was a very small amount of information, at least coming in the gay community. And I run a very large website, for dating, and I hadn't heard anything about it. And so I began to investigate. I began to talk with people, and to try to understand why it was that I didn't know more. And if you had told me 10 years ago that there would be a pill that was safe, that was effective, that was approved by the FDA, that could protect people with tremendous strength against getting HIV, I would say that sounds amazing. Yeah. That sounds great. Sign me up. And I realized
that doesn't sound just too good to be true.
Well, it does sound too good to be true. And I had heard about all sorts of fears. And I really, the more I delved into it, and the more I spoke to people who know a lot more than I do about the medicine, the more I really became convinced that this was a conversation that we needed to have.
You were a counselor. You actively sought Truvada out.
Yeah, I sure did. Here's the thing. So I'm HIV negative. I have dated guys who are positive the first guy I knowingly dated positive was about 20 years ago. And even back then, there was a lot of controversy around sexual activity between men who are negative, men who are positive. I learned the science. I found out how effective condoms were, how they could be used effectively, and I talked to people about it to stay negative. 20 years later, I learned about PrEP. And it's true that there's not been a lot of information in our community, but GMHC held a forum early in 2011. And at that time, I was coming to the end of a 6-year relationship, getting back out in the dating field, getting back into the flirting, cruising world, and found that a lot had changed, that people were not using condoms the way they once had. People were not using condoms. People didn't want to use condoms. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to use condoms either. And I found that after all these years,
all men at home, straight and gay, are like, yes,
after all these years, right, of being so safe and so careful, I was finding myself in this sort of confusing place of knowing how to prevent HIV, but not being as consistent as I had. Suddenly, I found out that GMHC was having a forum with some of the researchers about the results of the IPREX study, which I know we're about to discuss. I learned that there was a pill that I could take proactively that would protect myself from HIV that was believed to be about 90% effective.
What was discovered in the trials is that among people who took enough of the drug for it to be detected in their blood, the protection was more than 90%. Offering people the pill, dispensing the pill to people, was only about 44% effective. The lesson was you have to take the pill for it to be effective. In the trials, we did ask people to take the pill every day. We know now from the analysis of drug levels that we did in people that few people managed to actually take it every day. And we've done further analysis to suggest that, in fact, you can get high levels of protection even if you don't take 7 pills per week. So Truvada taken regularly is actually probably more forgiving than condoms.